Hey, Blue Crew. I was recently traveling, and one of the things I missed the most was my build class. So while it was nice to take a break and have a really intentional rest and recovery for a couple weeks, I'm really excited to get back to build, and I wanted to share with you the workout I am doing today. So this is a short build class. If you are new to build and you've been wanting to try it, well, here is your chance. Okay, so today for class, I'm using a set of heavy weights, and then we're gonna do some bicep curls. So I have a moderate set. Because I've been taking a break for a while, I'm actually dropping down a little bit in my weights. I was, on a certain path when I was training and doing this 3 days a week regularly, but because this is my first time back after a couple weeks off, I want to ease back into it. If you want to try any of the stuff with really light weights or no weights at all, you're always welcome to not use the weights, but I would just encourage you to think about all the things you are lifting. For example, today we're doing bicep curls. Think of all the things you're lifting: a heavy suitcase, grocery bags, picking up boxes. You do that stuff during your day and during your life. And this is meant to train you for that, but in a really intentional and safe way. So if you've been a little intimidated to try the build class, maybe you've had a bad experience with lifting heavier weights in the past, reconsider, because I think you'll find that this is a very different experience and we're prioritizing different things. So we're going to start with a warm up. We always start with a warm up. This is not just for your body, but it's also for your brain and to connect your brain to your body and for you to carve out space on your mat. So I'm going to start today in all fours. Place your hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Take an inhale, extend your spine. Exhale, flex your spine. Really good to just pay attention to what is going on in your body, how things feel, and try your best to just put your to-do list aside and make this time for yourself and your health. You deserve it. One more time. Inhale, extend the spine. Exhale, flex your spine, and then come back to neutral. Reach your left arm forward and your right leg back. Flip your palm up. You're going to tap your left shoulder with your left hand. Reach your arm long. Soften through your right elbow. So this is a little activation for your biceps. Now I want you to curl in and really squeeze your biceps. And then as you lengthen your arm, reach long, squeeze through your triceps. Okay, we're going to do that same thing, but you're going to take the arm back. So lengthen your arm, sweep it back, take a little bend and stretch. We're going to do biceps and triceps, so front and back body. And we're also going to do some glute and some quad work today. Last one, slide your back knee in, reach your left arm up, and then thread your left arm through. Take a little thread the needle stretch. I love this for rotation through the thoracic spine. A little shoulder stretch. And then switch sides, reach your right arm forward, flip your palm up, lengthen your left leg out. Just helps with balance a little bit. Pull your arm in. So you're hinging at your elbow. Notice that I'm softening my opposite arm. A lot of times we lock out through the arm. It puts a lot of load on your shoulders and your neck. And then really intentionally activate your biceps. Reach your arm long. Activate the biceps as you bend your elbow. Reach long. Last one. Pull in and in. Reach and then sweep your arm back. Take a little bend and stretch. As you lengthen your arm, squeeze your triceps. Just identify where the muscles that I just mentioned we're going to work are. So when we go back and we add the weight, you'll know what to activate, what to squeeze. The last one, slide your left leg in, reach your right arm up, rotate to the right, slide your right arm underneath you. Hello. Just breathe. Being able to breathe into these stretches is really important. Okay, and then turn over onto your back. We're going to awaken our glutes by doing some glute bridges. And I want you to bring your feet a little bit wider than your hips today. Take your hands to your glutes, lay your head down, lift your hips up and squeeze your glutes as much as you can. A lot of times this tactile feedback is really helpful for connecting your brain to your body. Lower your hips down, try to hold on to the engagement in your glutes, and then lift back up. So notice my hips aren't lifting all the way down. I'm not completely releasing that engagement. I'm only coming down as low as I can, holding on to some connection to the glutes, and then lift back up. Lower down, lift back up. The first exercise we're actually going to do today is a glute exercise. We're going to do a half deadlift. So I want you to really find your glutes right away in this warm up. Lift up and up, lower down, lift up. Last one, lower down and down. Hold the lift, squeeze your glutes, wrap your heels in. So sometimes I'll pull my heels in, press the thighs out, put your glutes, hold 4 counts, 3, 2, and 1. Set your hips down, hug your knees in towards your chest, take a couple gentle rocks side to side. So in the build class, we're just going to focus on strengthening one muscle at a time. You're not going to see all the compound movements that you might see in an Align class where we're doing maybe one thing with the upper body, something else with your lower body. That's kind of training mind-body connection for life because we walk and text and chew gum and do all these things at the same time. The purpose of the build class is to specifically strengthen muscles. So this is going to help with metabolic health, with hormone health. You lose muscle mass as you age, so this will help offset the aging process. Go ahead and rock and roll your way up, and we're going to stay on our knees today. If you have any knee issues, you can do this from a standing position, but it's a longer lever, and sometimes their backs get a little cranky in this. So if you have any issues with this exercise, please reach out and I'm able to help you modify. This isn't a live class, but when you do take a live build class, you can use the chat function and say, hey, Erin, or whoever the instructor is, this class isn't working for me. And we'll give you an alternative. That's the beauty of the live format. Okay, so I'm grabbing my heavy weights for this, but we're going to do a half deadlift. But before we get going, I want you to find the position and the exercise without the weight. So set your heavier weights, whatever that means for you, up in front of you. Take your hands to your glutes, and you're going to hinge your hips back. So hinge your hips back, and then push through your shin, squeeze through your glutes. So find the engagement at the top. Feel your glutes engage, just like you did in your glute bridge. Hinge your hips back, push through your shins, squeeze through your glutes. So notice I'm not coming all the way down. I lose engagement at the bottom range of motion. So only hinge back as much as you can, holding on to that engagement, and then push through your shins, squeeze through your glutes as you come up. Your hands are free, right? They're not holding anything. So use the tactile feedback here to help you find the position. And then when you're ready, carefully hinge forward, grab your weights. You're going to hold one weight in each hand and then hinge back, push through your shins, squeeze through your glutes. So you're going to hold on to the engagement, push through your shins, squeeze through your glutes. This is called a half deadlift. The purpose of this exercise is to strengthen your glutes. Notice I'm not adding a curl of the biceps. I'm not doing anything with the arms. I'm just holding the weights. Think about how many things you hold in your hands all day long. I just came from traveling and I was picking up heavy suitcases, to put them in the car, in the overhead, overhead compartment, I guess the word is I'm looking for. And all that stuff takes strength, right? We take for granted that you need all these things in life so that you can do the things you like to do. Lower down, we're going to do a minute of this. So each exercise is going to be a minute. We're going to do 4 exercises and we're going to repeat them 3 times. Lower down and down. Push through your shins, squeeze through your glutes. Last one, lower down and down. Good. Lift up, squeeze your glutes, and then gently set the weights down. Okay, the second exercise is going to be for the quads. So we just worked the back of the body, your glutes. Now you're going to work the quads, which means you have to relax your glutes in order to work the front of your body. And we're going to do this in a hinge position. So we're going to go reverse hinge, hinging the hips back. We're going to hinge our torso back. And again, I'm going to encourage you to start no weight, put your hands on your quads. Relax your glutes. They're going to naturally want to engage because you were just working on that. So relax them, hinge back so you feel that engagement in your quads and come back up. Hinge back, coming up. So find that engagement, use your hands as tactile feedback. Again, if you grip your glutes, you're not going to feel as much in your quads and or you're going to feel more like a pulling and tugging up on your knees. You also don't have to go way back. If you go too far, again, you'll feel it in your knees. This doesn't work for your knees. Wall sit is always your go-to alternative. Okay, so if you choose to use a weight, I like to hold one of my heavy weights, one side in each hand, press down through your shins, relax your glutes, hinge back, and then coming up. So we're, again, trying to strengthen your quadriceps. So those are the muscles in the front of your upper leg, opposite side of the body from the glutes. So again, if you're squeezing your glutes, can you see that, me squeezing? I'm going to feel it more in my knees and not really where you want to feel it at all. So hinge back. You can also engage your core. So you're pulling your abdominals in as you go back and lift up. If this doesn't work for your knees, or being on your knees doesn't work for you, wall sit's always a good option. The nice thing about wall sit is you can pretty much do it anywhere. You know, for some of these classes, being on the floor, you have to be in a place where you want to get down on the floor. Wall sit, I'll do a wall sit on an airplane, in an airport, pretty much anywhere. Last one, hinge back, and then come on up. Okay, carefully set down your weight. So the way you put down the weights and pick them back up is just as important as everything else. And you're gonna grab your moderate weights. We're gonna do some bicep curls. You can stay on your knees, or you can come to standing, whatever works best for you. But if you come to standing, just make sure you're softening your knees. So start with your palms in, curl your arms up, and then lower your arms down. Curl and lower. So you're gonna turn your palms up as you curl, turn your palms in as you lower. Exhale as you lift up, inhale as you lower down. Exhale, curl up, inhale, lower down. So I'm gonna turn your profile. What I see a lot with biceps, especially if the weights are too heavy, people start kind of like leaning back and or straightening their legs and using like a little bit of momentum. Soften through your knees, engage through your core, but you wanna be able to lift the weight with your strength rather than using momentum. Remember, momentum is not a muscle. So if you notice that you're leaning back at all, try lighter weights, or you can try alternating one at a time. That's a nice way to kind of break it up. Make sure that you are actually using your muscles and that you're in alignment, which is of course important. Alignment's so important, we put it in our name. You have 4 counts, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, gently set your weights down, come back to the ground. So we just worked our biceps. Now we're gonna work triceps. You have a couple different options. You can either use 2 weights and do a skull crusher, or if you have one bigger weight that's wide enough, like elbow width, I'll show you from this position, like this, you can do 2. If you have a really small weight and your arms are like this, it's gonna throw your arms out of alignment. So in that case, you wanna use 2. When you come down to the ground for a chest press, for glute bridges, for triceps work, anything where you need to hold on to the weight, make sure you grab the weight before you lower down, because if you get down to the ground and all of a sudden you're like, oh shoot, I have to go pick up that 20-pound weight, you know, that's what's going to happen to your back. So grab the weight first, then lower down, reach your arms up. For this position, you want your elbows over your shoulders, not back here, not forward, and then just bend at your elbows and press up. Inhale, good, exhale, press up, lower down, lift up. So I'm using 1 weight. It's a little bit heavier because I'm only using 1. If I were gonna use 2, I would obviously use a lot lighter weight. And notice that my elbows aren't coming back here. And also, one thing I see a lot of I'll show you with 1 weight, keep going. With 1 weight, a lot of times people come really far down. This really aggravates the tendons of my elbows. So I only come down to 90 degrees and then press up. So play around with it. You know, for some reason, we call these skull crushers. You don't actually want to crush your skull in the process of doing these exercises. It's not necessary to go that low. I think there's diminishing returns. So inhale down, exhale, press up. You have 5 counts. 4, we're gonna go back to those half deadlifts in 3, 2, 1. Gently set the weight down. Come on up. Look around. Come to your knees. And grab your weights. Second set. Okay, so the 4 exercises. This is the second set. Hinge forward, engage your core, pick up your weights, and then you're gonna inhale, hinge back. Exhale, push through your shins, squeeze through your glutes. Push down, squeeze your glutes. Inhale, hinge back. Exhale, push and squeeze. Inhale, hinge back. Exhale, push and squeeze. So again, it's not super low, and I'm not diving my chest forward. Keep your torso lifted. This is a lot like a squat. So keep going. But if you're in a squat, right, your hips would go back, squeeze to your glutes as you come up. Hinge, squeeze to your glutes. It's also a lot like what we did in the warm-up, the glute bridge. Lower down, squeeze to your glutes as you lift up. So those are both alternatives. If you're going to do the squat, don't use the heavy weights because it adds a lot of load to your back. Again, if you ever need an alternative, you can check out our build classes in our membership. You can come to a live stream class and leverage the expertise of a live instructor who's there to help you. Last one, lower down. Good, lift up. So for this next one, the quads, you already know what's coming. I'm just gonna hold on to that heavy weight. This time, instead of hinging back this way, again, release your glutes, lower your hips down, and lift up. You don't have to come all the way down like that, especially since that could make your knees cranky. You want to lower down, feel it in the quads, and lift up. Lower down, lift up. Are you clenching your glutes? If you are, try to release the clench, lower down, lift up. And if you prefer the other one, you can go back and do another set of that. Again, if this isn't working for you, wall sit's always kind of the go-to quad exercise. Lower down and down. Push through your shins, squeeze as you lift. Lower down, lift up. Okay, got another 10 seconds here. Gently set this heavy weight down. Grab your biceps weights from your knees or standing. Your choice. You have 4 counts. 3, 2, and 1. Gently set that weight down. I'm gonna grab my bicep weights, which are lighter, and I'm gonna stay on my knees for this set. You're welcome to stand up. Curl your arms up. Inhale, lower down. Exhale. Inhale, lower down. So you'll hear me cue a lot about breath in build. You'll hear me breathe, especially when I'm teaching and demoing. Sometimes I feel a little like Darth Vader. My kids make fun of me when I do these classes and I lift heavier weights because I breathe really obnoxiously, but it actually helps you activate the core muscles you need to stabilize your spine. And it helps. Like, I feel like I could work a little harder when I add the breath. So exhale, curl up, inhale, lower down, feel your biceps engage. And notice the way you lower is just as important as the way you lift. I see so many people, you hear me talk about this all the time, that, you know, at the gym or wherever, they just like drop the weights. You get so much more work on that eccentric contraction. So dropping your weights is not only dangerous, but you miss out on more than half of the benefits. Last one, roll up and up, lower down and down. Okay, even though my bicep weights are a little heavy for me for skull crushers, I'm gonna show you what I would do if I had 2 weights. So the last set I did with 1 weight. For triceps, this time I'm gonna grab 2, 1 in each hand. Again, grab the weights before you lie down, bring your arms up. So bend the elbows this way, and then press up. Okay, so this is, make sure my timer. Okay, you bend the elbows, press up. If you're like me and you have weights that you're working into, like they're a little bit heavy, you can do what you did in biceps, and you can alternate and go really slowly. You're never going to see us do anything fast in build. When you lengthen your arm, I want you to squeeze your triceps. So now you're working the back of your arm. You can either do doubles or press up, or alternate rather. So inhale as you lower 90 degrees. Exhale. Notice if your elbows and your arms are moving back and forth. Try to keep them really stable. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, press up. If you are experiencing cranky elbows either during class or in the days after class, please, please, please reach out. Reach out to me, ask for advice, check your alignment, make sure you're not using the weight that's too heavy, make sure your range of motion is not, I'm not even demo this with the weights because I feel like that's not safe for my own body. But if you're coming too far down, again, that can make your elbows cranky. So lots of ways to alternate, but stop right at that 90 degrees, press up, squeeze your triceps. You have 4 counts, 3, 2, and 1. Sometimes in class, I want to show you what not to do, but then I have to be careful to protect my own body and kind of show you what the pitfalls are without actually doing the pitfalls. That's what I set the weights down because it's easier to demonstrate. Okay, third and final set. We're going to go back to glutes. So 4 exercises, 2 upper body, 2 lower body, 2 front body, 2 back body. And this is your third set because I like 3s, like odd numbers. Okay. So hinge forward, pick up your weights. Squeeze your glutes. For me, personally, it's easier to find the squeeze at the top. Hinge your hips back, push through your shins. So now you do want to feel that engagement in your glutes and hang on to it for as long as you possibly can. Push through your shins, squeeze through your glutes. Lower down, push through your shins, squeeze through your glutes. Hinge back, push and squeeze. Woo! Gets a little spicy. Think about how good this is for sitting, standing, getting where you need to go, right? Life is fun when you can get around. You're mobile, active, you can do all the things you want to do. Inhale down, exhale, push, squeeze through your glutes. And if you ever feel this in your low back, check to make sure the weight isn't too heavy and that you're not diving your chest forward. You want to lead with the hips go back. Okay, you have 8 more counts, 7, 6. And when I give you the final countdown, that's not number of reps. A lot of times people start moving really fast thinking they need to do 8 more. Nope, just the count. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, carefully set one weight down. Last set of quads. If you liked one of those options more than the other, do the one you like better. I'm actually going to do an alternating pattern here. So release your glutes because now it's your quads turn. Hinge back, feel it in your quads. Come on up and then lower your hips down and lift back up. You're going to hinge back, come on up, lower your hips down, lift up. Hinge back, lift up, lower down. So what we're going to eventually work towards with the build, and it kind of depends on where you start. Some people have been participating in this class for, since its inception. Some people are newer. You got to take it at your own pace. But what you're working towards is something called progressive overload. So we're going to keep, adding weight as you go stronger. You want to feel like at the end of whatever our prescribed set is of the day, that you're like, yeah, that was good. I don't want you to feel like I have to scrape you off the mat and you can't, be productive the rest of your day because you're just so exhausted. I call that bonking. I used to do that a lot when I was running marathons. I would bonk and I'd just be useless the rest of the day. That's not actually a good sign of a good workout. That's a sign that you've really depleted your body. And so we want you to feel challenged. We want you to feel like, oh yeah, I don't want to do this all day. Please start your countdown. You're 4, speaking of which, 3, 2, and 1. But we're going to be talking about being close to the point of failure. It's like, yeah, I don't want to do another set of those. And that point will get pushed out as you get stronger, right? So maybe you start biceps with, 5 or 8 pounds, and then eventually you work your way up to 12. And by the end of the set, you're like, yeah, that's the right amount for me.
but don't worry about that yet. I just want to expose you to like some of the exercises we're going to do. So back to biceps, curl, lower your arms, curl up, exhale, inhale, lower down. It looks like the way the weight is, it looks like those are actually my knees. It's lined up there. Inhale down, exhale, inhale. My kids, I mentioned, make fun of me so much about the breathing that every time now that I breathe, all I hear are their little like, you know, voices mocking me, but I don't care. Look at me. I'm strong. I can keep up with them because I do this. And the breathing helps you not get injured while you're doing it. Exhale. Inhale, lower down. Another thing you'll see is just with this build format, you want to go really slowly. And I don't just mean in the exercises themselves, but also progress slowly, which I know is frustrating. Sometimes you feel like, okay, get on with it. I just want to, you know, go out the gate really hard and get strong really fast. That's why people get injured, because they try to do too much too quickly. Your body doesn't like change. So you have to approach it strategically. And if you do it right, you'll be doing this with us for a very, very, very long time. Last one, curl up and up. Good. Lower down. Okay. Last set, triceps. I'm going to go back to one weight because this is a better fit for me weight wise, but I showed you if you're going to do two and either this way or alternating, that works fine. Just set your weights up before you come down to your back. Reach your arms up, elbows over the shoulders. Inhale down. Exhale, press up. Inhale down. Exhale, press up. Nothing like seeing a weight coming towards your forehead to keep you present in this exercise. Inhale down. Exhale, press up. I think it is really important. I know it's very hard, but it's important to set aside other things and just really pay attention to what you're doing. I think that is one contributor to, you know, injuries and things. People kind of space out. I know that happened to me a lot. Again, when I was running, I thought, oh, I love running because it's mindless. I'm just going to, you know, check out for the next hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And I was just moving my body, but not paying attention to the way I was doing it. It was quantity, how far I could go, how quickly I could run, and it was not about quality. And at Alkalign, we're all about form and alignment and paying attention, which I know is hard. It's hard to pay attention. It's hard to focus on one thing, especially when, you know, we've got a million notifications and things buzzing and beeping and demanding our attention all day. But that's why this is so important for your mental health, for your physical health, for your emotional health. Just tap out of that stuff and tune into you. You have 4 counts. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, I did not want to do one more rep, which is a sign that I'm at a good weight for me. Okay, so that was your 3 sets, and you've been gripping a lot of weights. So what I want to do first is just sit crisscross and blink your hands. Give your hands a little break. It's a lot to hold a weight. It's a lot to hold your phone. It's a lot to, you know, grip the steering wheel, or if you're a cyclist, I know like on those descents, right? I remember my hands used to get really tight. It's a lot. So just blink your hands. We're gonna do a little hand stretch. Take the backs of your hands together. Drop your elbows down. Take your right ear to your right shoulder. Left ear to your left shoulder. Circle your head in one direction and in the other direction. Okay, and then come to all fours, and we're gonna do one more little stretch for the hands. Turn your fingers towards you. I like to tuck my toes, and then hinge your hips back like you did in that half deadlift. Feel the stretch here for your forearms, because I want you to be very mindful about the exercises we're doing, the way we're doing them, the way you pick up and set down the weights, but I also want you to pay attention to all the little overflow tension, right? Holding, you know, the grip strength of, sometimes I have to put a weight down, not because the weight's too much load for my, for example, glutes or biceps. It's just too much for my hands to grip. Okay, turn your hands the other way. Take an inhale, extend your spine. Exhale, flex your spine. Do it again, inhale, extend. Exhale, flex. Just notice how things are sliding and gliding a little differently than they were.
And then come to all fours, pick up your left knee, cross it over your right, and shift your hips back. This is a glute stretch. If you have any issues with glutes, hips, piriformis, this is a great stretch. Alternative to this, if this doesn't work for your knees, your hips, or you've got some sort of wrist thing going on, flip over onto your back, do a figure 4. And then come on up, switch sides, cross your right ankle or your right leg over your left, shift your hips back. If you do a lot of sitting, driving, anything like that during the day, this is such a good stretch. All right, and then come down to your abdominals, curl your left heel in, forehead down to the floor, quad stretch. Drop your tailbone down, pull your abdominals in, and switch sides. So we're just giving a little love to all the muscles we just worked to strengthen. The cool down is just as important as the warm up. I know that sometimes we want to skip one or both of those, but it's an important process. It's like skipping the beginning of the movie or the beginning of the book, just watching the middle and then not knowing what happens at the end. Skipping the warm up and the cool downs like that. It's like you kind of need the bookends for it all to come together. And we are intentional about the warm up and why we do what we do, and same with the cool down. Okay, and then finally press yourself up and back into a child's pose. Flip your palms up and just a couple times tap your fingertips to your shoulders if it works better for you to alternate. Great, getting a little activation for the biceps, a little stretch for your triceps. And then finally, bring the fingertips to your shoulder blades, forehead down to the floor. Give yourself a pat on the back, wiggle your hips a bit side to side. Thank yourself for showing up, for committing this time to yourself, especially if you're new to build. I know it can be really scary to start something new, to try something new. But ask yourself, was it as bad as I thought it was going to be? If so, there is no pressure to do build. Our Align classes are really great for strengthening, but if you want to see those changes in your body composition and to your metabolic health and offset the impact of aging, then build is a great way to do that. Thank you so much for joining. See you next time.